Meteorologist Matthew East here with you. This is the Friday edition of the Carolina weather video for this 12th day of October. And let's start off with a look at mountain temperatures again. I wanted to show you that it is a much milder mountain morning this morning than what was occurring yesterday. You notice a lot of 40s and a lot of 50s actually on the board, no 30s during the 5 o'clock hour. And it's kind of one of those mornings where you have somewhat of a temperature inversion ongoing, and it's much chillier in the Piedmont in many instances than it is up there in the higher elevations. Fall foliage really looking nice, and probably this weekend a lot of the areas above about 2,500 feet will see the peak of the fall foliage season. Some great color to enjoy up there in the mountains if you want to head up in that direction. Now let's look at the radar this morning. Still quiet around here. Now off to the north of us you have a band of rain with some snow in northern parts of New York, mixed in there in parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine. And it's been a pretty good complex of storms rumbling through parts of Kentucky and Tennessee through the night. That looks like it's going to stay off to the west of us. We'll probably get a little bit of debris cloud cover from that later today, but I don't think we have any opportunities for rain across the Piedmont. Highs yesterday across the region, a lot of 60s from the mountains through the foothills and out into the Piedmont, some low 70s when you got over toward the Sandhills and closer to the coast. And again, this morning, you have a lot of pretty chilly air through the foothills and the Piedmont, a lot of 40s on the board. And again, there's a few of the normally colder spots that have managed to dip down into the upper 30s. There's a satellite and radar imagery pretty quiet around here, but you get to the west of the mountains, that's where that big complex of storms has been rumbling. Now, before we go any further with our weather, I wanted to show you the tropical update. There's Patty, developed yesterday northeast of the Bahamas, but already the low-level center has now gotten exposed with the system there from the deeper convection. There's the water vapor imagery. Patty kind of getting surrounded by dry air. The shear is going to be increasing, and so Patty probably going to fall apart within 24 hours or so as it drifts off to the southwest, and then it'll just be a remnant low probably that gets picked up rather by a front and scoots to the northeast. Also watching this area entering the eastern Caribbean Sea. That could get classified over the next day or two. That one's going to get picked up by another incoming trough into the eastern parts of the country and should pass well off the east coast, maybe near Bermuda, and then off close to the Canadian Maritimes, but it will not threaten the U.S. All right, let's check some modeling data here, and we're looking pretty quiet out there across the region today. Now we do have a dry cold front that's been pressing through, kind of driven by that upper level energy over the northeast, but all that's doing is reinforcing the cool, dry setup across our area. Now over the weekend, again, still looks like there could be a pretty good severe weather outbreak in the Plain States. There's a very potent piece of energy there in the nation's midsection that's going to interact with at least some fairly warm and unstable air out ahead of it. Could be a pretty dynamic severe weather outbreak in parts of the high plains, especially tomorrow and tomorrow evening. That could affect some of the college football games going on tomorrow up that way. Notice by Monday, that trough swinging into the eastern part of the country. That'll drive another cold front through, and it still looks like there's a chance of some showers with that front as it swings through the Carolinas on Monday. Following that, we're looking at pretty quiet weather then, with another front due in around Thursday or so, and it's a pretty sharp trough on especially the GFS, but the European looks like it's trying to catch up to the GFS in terms of the amplitude of that incoming trough for the second half of next week. So let's take it day by day. Here we go. Big area of high pressure today over the Great Lakes region. That'll build down the eastern seaboard tomorrow. So another day tomorrow, much like yesterday. Sunshine, highs in the 60s in many Piedmont locations. Sunday, probably up in the low and mid 70s again. Big area of low pressure that will, by that point in time, be in the Great Lakes region. Cold front trailing down from that. But ahead of all that, we have a great weekend on tap around here. So again, the weather will be picture perfect for all of the racing activity out at Charlotte Motor Speedway. But by Monday, that front moves in here. Enough energy involved that we'll have a quick hitting chance of some showers as Monday unfolds. They'll be in and out. We're back to dry weather on Tuesday and Wednesday. And here comes that next system. We go out to Thursday. That's what it looks like on the GFS as that next system moves in. And GFS still, although it's flipping and flopping in the longer range, more often than not it seems to want to bring in some pretty good pushes of cooler air. That's a fairly chilly setup by next weekend, Sunday morning the 21st, and pretty tight packing of the thickness values here. So there's some pretty cold air involved in some parts of the eastern U.S., and then another big shot of chilly air. Sorry about that. Another big shot of chilly air diving down the plains toward the latter stages of the run out on Thursday the 25th. So there's some signs that some chilly air is going to at times continue to ease on down into the eastern parts of the United States. All right, that is it for today's edition of the Carolina Weather Video. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful weekend, and God bless.